Here is what's really happening in the Philly area housing market for sellers. Price cuts are up, homes are sitting longer, and if you don't adjust, you could potentially lose out. So let's talk about it. The Philly area housing market is shifting, but what's happening in the city is different than what's happening out in the suburbs. When you look at home prices, for the majority of the area, they are still rising. Right now, home prices in the Philadelphia metro area are at $357,000, and that's up 5.1% from last year. So prices are still rising. But we're not seeing huge jumps like we saw in 2021 and 2022. In the city, prices are actually a little bit more stable. Some neighborhoods are seeing small increases, while others have leveled off. And then you have the suburbs, which is completely different. Price growth is much stronger. So areas like the Main Line and everywhere in Buxton, Montgomery County for the most part are still super competitive, especially for those well-priced homes in the better school districts. The key takeaway here, sellers can't just pick a high number and expect buyers to rush in. The market is normalizing and pricing strategy matters more than ever. And here's another thing, homes are taking a little bit longer to sell. And this is a big one for Philly, the city. Homes are sitting on the market now for 66 days on average. And that's 5 days longer than this time last year. And the slowest pace that we've seen since early 2020. In the suburbs, homes are still moving, but they're taking slightly longer. There are still some areas, right, where you're seeing multiple offers and way over asking price. But for the most part, I would say it's fading. Why? Because buyers now have a little bit more choice and they're taking their time. More homes are going to hit the market and they already are. Inventory is up almost 27% year over year. That means more homes are available now than this time last year. And for buyers, that's pretty great news. They have more options. For sellers, that just means a little bit more competition. The homes that sell quickly are the ones that are priced right and in really good condition. Price cuts are happening too. And here's a reality check. 16.8% of homes on the market have had price reductions, and that's higher than this time last year. So what does that tell us? That the overpriced homes are not selling. Buyers are willing to wait and negotiate instead of overpaying, especially now with the potential recession looming. If your home isn't priced correctly from the start, you're likely going to have to drop the price later, and that usually means that you're going to be losing out on money. So what does this all mean if you are selling? This is not the market where you can just list your home and expect multiple offers over asking without doing certain things. Yes, the city and the suburbs are behaving differently, but one thing is clear, strategy is everything. So if you're selling your home in Philly, in the city, you need to price competitively, be ready for longer days on market, and understand that buyers have more options now. And if you're selling in the suburbs, pricing still matters, but be well prepped because homes in the sought after areas can and most likely will sell quickly, especially if they're staged well and marketed right. And here's the bottom line, your pricing, preparation, and marketing needs to be on point. And that leads us perfectly into the pricing strategy. Because if you get this wrong, your home is going to sit. A lot of sellers think, I'm just going to price high. And if I need to, I can lower it later. And let me tell you, I've worked with tens of people who decided to do that. And it never worked out that way, ever. Because here's the problem. Homes that start overpriced, they're just going to sit on the market longer. And the longer they sit on the market, the less attractive they become to potential buyers, and you're just chasing the market down. Getting the price right from the start is the single most important factor in selling your home quickly. So how do you go about pricing it right? That's the big question. Step one, you have to look at recent sales, not just other listings that are active on the market. Check which properties actually sold in the past 60 to 90 days. But pay attention to active listings because they tell you what sellers hope to get. Recent sales tell you what buyers are actually paying. Step two is factor in your price reductions in your area. If you're seeing a lot of price cuts in the neighborhood, that's a sign that buyers aren't willing to overpay. This means that if you start too high, you'll likely end up cutting your price later, and getting less overall. Step 3, get a professional opinion from a realtor. Do not rely on Zillow's estimates. They are not accurate. A local real estate expert is going to give you a much more accurate price based on actual market conditions. So here's the bottom line with pricing. You have to price it right from the start in any market, and you're going to attract more buyers and better offers. Next, you have to really consider prepping your home because buyers are picky. Even in the suburbs, they're still very picky. So let's talk about something that can make or break your sale, and it's the presentation. So a few years ago, buyers in all of this area were super desperate. They were waiving inspections, bidding wars over asking happened with almost every property, it seemed like, and grabbing whatever they could find just made sense to them. And that's not necessarily the case anymore. Buyers are going to have more options if they don't already, and they're being more picky. They're comparing homes. They notice all the little flaws, and they're expecting move-in ready homes. That means you need to make your home look its absolute best before it even hits the market. And here's the cold hard truth. A home that feels outdated will sit. A home that feels fresh, bright, and inviting will sell. So how do you make your home stand out? It's very, very simple. Declutter, depersonalize. So imagine walking into a home that's filled with all the family photos and oversized furniture, cluttered countertops. I've sold a lot of properties like that. It feels too personal. But that's the problem. Buyers don't want to feel like they're walking into your home. They want to imagine themselves living in their home. The quick, easy fix, you got to remove the personal items and all the memorabilia, all the Eagle stuff. I know you love it, but maybe you could leave that up. But remove all the personal stuff. Make sure that the space feels very neutral. Clean out excess furniture, minimize decor. Less is more. Always think clean, simple, and airy. If your home looks like a model home, you're doing it right. Focus on the neutral colors too, right? The bright accent wall, no one likes that. Nobody wants to deal with that. They don't have to change that back. They want you to change that back. Stick with soft, warm, and neutral colors, right? Your whites, your beiges, and your light grays. Why? Because people still like that. It makes the space feel bigger, brighter, and more inviting. And most importantly, buyers can picture their own furniture in the space. So if your walls are dark or bold, grab a can of paint. Just do it yourself. It's easy. You can absolutely do it. And then you have to think about the small upgrades that give you a big return on your investment. You don't gotta do a giant renovation in your kitchen, right? Just make sure you focus on small, strategic upgrades that make a big difference. Swap out your outdated light fixtures. Modern pendant lights or recessed lights will elevate the entire space. Upgrade those cabinet hardwares. I know if you're in the city and you're like me and you lived in an older home, you gotta update it, right? You just gotta do it. So new handles on kitchens and bathroom doors, they're gonna make the cabinets even look new. Replace your worn out faucets, get something more modern in the kitchen and in the bathrooms. It's gonna make it feel way fresh. And do a deep clean too. Even regrout some tile in the bathrooms and the kitchens because it's gonna make it feel spotless. These upgrades don't cost a lot and they're going to give you a big return on your investment. And please don't forget curb appeal. When buyers pull up to your home for the first time, they're seeing the exterior of it. So you want to make sure that if your front yard looks neglected or your front door looks worn out, buyers are going to be forming an opinion. So make sure that you update them to make a good first impression. I'm telling you, before you list, you gotta put in the work. It's going to make everything look better. It's going to make your home sell faster, and you're going to get better offers. So whether or not you realize it, the market is shifting. Now you might be saying, Sean, I'm in Downingtown. I can list my house for $900,000 and I might get 4, 5, or 6 offers. That is true, but it has to be what buyers desire. And if your home isn't fitting what I just talked about, then you're going to be sitting a little bit longer. So if you are considering selling now or in the future, or maybe you just want to see what your home is actually worth, click the link below, schedule an appointment with me. Would love to chat with you. Catch you later.